Okay, so welcome everybody to our interpreting JobKeeper rules and how it applies to your business. I have Catherine with me. And we also have our tax team also watching this. So we will start in a minute. Please note that this is general advice, which means that this presentation is no part of it that can be taken as your personal situation, because we haven't sat down with you. So please do not rely on it, and therefore we don't accept any responsibility, Success Accounting Group or BAS-wise, accept any responsibility, because in order for us to give you proper advice, we need to book in and sit down with you and go through your situation. But saying that, we are here to help you. Okay, so you've got myself and Coy, who's accountants, and also Katerina, who's owns BAS-wise, who also specializes in accounting and bookkeeping. So please put your questions in the chat as we go. So if everyone can hear, then I will start the presentation. So thank you, everyone. I really look forward to the discussion about JobKeeper today, because it is out. We have a limited time to enroll for you for JobKeeper starting today. So the timing of this webinar is very important. Also, applications and payments are starting on 4th of May. So if you do lodge late, potentially you have to, that could affect your payment as well. So that's why we have this webinar, and after this webinar, I'm sure our team and BAS-wise team will be very busy helping our clients lodge properly and making sure they're eligible. So the package eligibility ends on the 27th of September. So it's about 13 weeks, and no more payments will be made after that. So if you, a lot of our clients are, in a position to apply this week, but if your books and your tax and BASs are not up to date, then make sure you get an accountant or speak to your accountant to get that up to date ASAP, because you will miss out if you don't. The good thing about this JobKeeper is once you pass turnover, you only need to be passed once. So therefore, so that means once you pass it the first month or the first quarter, then you're in. Okay, so that's the rule. All eligible employees must be covered, one in or in. Okay, so that means that only the eligible employees will be covered. So you can't. So that's good. Enroll for JobKeeper payment from 20th April, which is today, using the business portal and authenticate with MyGov. Now, if you're our clients, we use Xero, so you can also enroll through that as well. And also, we will show you how to do it. Confirmation of eligible employees, you will claim the JobKeeper payment. So available from 4th of May onwards. That's confirmation. So you can see it's fairly quick. So in about 14 days, you will know and you'll get that payment. You'll need to identify which employees you intend to claim the JobKeeper payment and tell them you intend to claim the payment for them. So it's a two-way process. It's not, so you get permission from your employees, and there's a form that you employer and employees need to mutually sign, and it's keep on record. Okay, so that's called the JobKeeper Employee Nomination Notice. Now, multiple employers choose the employer that have permanent employment, so is normally chosen. So for example, if your employee works casually for you and they also have a full-time employment, then generally the full-time employment is the one that they should be choosing. Of course, there's a case by case, but if you're unsure, come and ask me if you have that situation. Okay. So that's the urgent update. The next part of what are we going to cover today? Let me just, okay. So the agenda today we cover is what the JobKeeper package entails. I will quickly go through the latest because there has been a different announcements coming through. So making sure that everyone has the latest and updates, the eligibility requirements for employers and obligation applicable to both employers and employees. So I'll be covering eligible for employees as well. The key actions for JobKeeper, what you need to do and what you need to be aware of, and the risk for doing it yourself, and obviously engaging into accountant to do it for you. And where can I get help? And at the end, we will offer you general FAQs and also what's the next steps after this. So make sure you stay to the end. Now, what does the JobKeeper package entails? So as you can see, the 1,500 reimbursement per employee is per fortnight from 30th of March 2020. So paid to business significantly affected by COVID-19. Now the 13 fortnight payments from 30th March, 2020 to 27 September 2020. The first JobKeeper payment no later than 14th of May 2020, backdated to the 30th March 2020. But employers must pay a minimum of 1,500 per fortnight. So if you have employees that are under, you will top up. Okay, so the first eligible period will be for this period, but then the payment will be from the 4th of May. ATO has deferred this to the end of April for the first 2 fortnights. Okay, so that's just the general. So everyone knows, I think now, that it's for the 1,500 per fortnight, and I will go through more on how it's tested. So for employers, for those of our clients with turnover of less than 1 billion, which is most of us, which is here, the first one, then threshold is 30% reduction in sales. Okay. Now projected GST turnover is used in this case for the relevant periods that fall short. Okay. So I've had a question asked, what about if you don't register for GST? So that's one of the FAQs, which we will cover later on. But generally, if you are, your sales turnover is compared, and I have so is reduced, then you can be part of it. I have an example later on, okay, on between monthly and quarterly lodges. For other requirements for employer, you also need to be in a business or carrying on a business as of 1st of March 2020 in Australia, and not-for-profit that pursues objective principle in Australia. So resident for Australian tax, carries on a business from 1st of March, okay, and an active ABN, of course. Self-employed and private business entities, even if proprietors are the only workers, that is non-employees, also can claim or apply for this. So they include sole traders, partners in a partnership, adult beneficiaries of a trust, and shareholders or director of the company. Okay, so that's very important. So if you don't pay any wages for yourself, then you still can be in the running for JobKeeper. The turnover test period is comparison period, must be period in 2019 that corresponds to the turnover test period. So as I said, if you're a quarterly lodger for BAS, then you'll come for this, then normally you'll compare 2019 quarter for March and last March. And if you're monthly, then you can compare, say, April 2020 compared to last April 2019. Okay. This is just it covers what I've just said. So you can either test, you're able to test 2 periods for a fortnight. So if it's monthly period, then you can test these months compared to 19. If it's quarterly, then you'll test June and September. Okay. Decline in turnover tests. This is has some grey areas because if you don't immediately meet the 30% reduction tests that I mentioned earlier, then there is the commission discretion where we will help you apply for this. So if there could be, so if your business was a startup, for example, last year, and this year obviously it's the second year, then there could be a reason to apply for the Commission's discretion. So if your business does not automatically fall within the 30%, then don't give up. Please come to us, and we can still apply for it, but we just have to write to the Commission to explain your situation. Okay. JobKeeper obligations. So for employers, as I mentioned, you have to obtain the signed JobKeeper form signed by both employers and employees by the end of April. So there is a limited of time to do this, and must pay minimum pre-tax per fortnight, including top-up payment where wage is less than $1,500 fortnight. So for anyone that has less than $750 a week, if you're paying weekly, and $1,500 a fortnight, then you need to top it up and then actually pay them through the either single touch payroll system. And you have to report this employer data by single touch payroll, including any stand downs that you want to bring them into the JobKeeper. You have to do the same as well. So for employees, as I mentioned, if multiple employees, notify your primary employer, so that and generally that's the one that you get tax-free threshold. If non-Australian, notify employer visa status, and if receiving a job seeker Centrelink payments, also report change in circumstances to the service that Australia, which is Centrelink. I like to learn from visuals, so we put together this diagram to how it works. Okay, so JobKeeper. So here's on the employer side. Now we can see. Let's go through this first. So, for example, we have 3 employees here: Natalie. Let me just see, Trent and Brandon. So Natalie is okay, 3,000 wage. That's okay per fortnight. So there's nothing need to be done for her to get the JobKeeper, apart from all in terms of the top up. But with Trent, he's only paid $1,000 per fortnight. So the employer needs to top up $500 for him and actually pay that. For Brandon, who was stood down a week ago, he needs to be topped up as well, $1,500. So that's paid through the STP, and then you'll get, so if you're eligible, you'll get that reimbursed. Now for our employer here, he receives only dividends, so 4 times 1,500. So you can see here, only one JobKeeper, either Kate or Charlie, can be picked. So there are 2 dividends or shareholders here. So only Kate or Charlie can be selected. So that's just to be aware of that. Okay. So if you have partnerships, again, only one partner can be selected. Okay. For eligible employees, you need to be employed by the employer as 1st of March 2020. Now, remember, for those who stood down their staff, then you can actually bring them back on the books now. But this is for official employment, and they have to be at least 16 years old of age as of 1st of March. Again, many people ask about this 12 months. So full-time, part-time just need to be as of 1st of March. Casuals need to be there greater than 12 months as of 1st of March. Stood down and rehired, okay, as long as it's applies the 1st of March rule. Australian citizen or certain visa holders who are Australian residents are okay. Not receiving JobKeeper from another employer. So this is very important to check that your employees are not, have other jobs. And again, reminder that the one that default claim is a tax-free threshold taken to be the primary employer. Okay. As I said about when you're running your own business and you don't actually pay wages to yourself, this is it's called the business participant rule. So you can actually nominate one participant so if you're a sole trader, then that's you, the individual. If you're a partnership, it's one partner. If you're a trust company, then it's an adult beneficiary. Or if you're a company, it's a shareholder or director. Now, just know that the individual must not also be an employee of the business, because that way you would probably be eligible for JobKeeper as an employee. And also you must be actively engaged in the business carried on by the entities. And therefore just note of that. And if you are one of those, then obviously there is a slightly different process of applying, but still you need to meet the other requirements. Okay. This is something I want to raise upfront with everyone, because this is a package that is designed to help people that obviously is affected, and there are strict integrity measures. So these are some of the rules that you should not do. So overpayment debts. So if not entitled to JobKeeper payment, then you need to repay the amount not entitled and general interest charge. So this is particularly for more if you're trying to do it yourself or applying for yourself. Please be careful that if they find out, ATO audits you and finds out, you actually have to repay and then also pay interest. Now that's why we tell everyone up front that we are not in a position to help you. Obviously, if you're eligible and we find that you're eligible, then of course we will help you, but we will not be part of any false or misleading to help those that are not eligible in the first place. Record keeping is essential. So you're actually required to keep all record keeping of any entitlement up to 5 years, pre and post payment. Any schemes enter in for the sole purpose of being entitled to JobKeeper is also not allowed. Okay, so for example, if you were an employee of your business before this announcement have happened and you now become an employee, then that's not allowed. That's called a contrived scheme just to get JobKeeper. We always look at, there has to be the predominant commercial reason for it. Okay, so if you're unsure, please speak to your accountant or bookkeeper. There are very harsh penalties for people who try to do the JobKeeper lodgement and do it incorrectly. Now, for those who do that, then there could be up to 75% of amount of overpayment. So not only will you repay the JobKeeper, but then you have to pay the penalty on top of that as well, 75%. And of course, worst case is 12 months fine and fine up to 50,000, I think it was, 50 points. Sorry. Yeah, so we just don't want you to go there. So if you're feeling that you're unsure, then please seek professional help, okay? Because the ones at the bottom is probably not where you want to go with JobKeeper, okay? So key actions. What can you do to get it right? Because obviously the value to you in JobKeeper is immense. I understand that, if you have 10 employees and they're eligible employees, the payment per fortnight is $1,500. So number of fortnights is 13. So the total JobKeeper amount to your business is up to $195,000 in 6 months or 13 weeks. So, and including yourself, which is a director of the business or shareholder, and you can also get that yourself. So you can see that the value of this JobKeeper, if done correctly and legally, is $220,000. Now, that's why we've offered this webinar, but this webinar is designed to identify and make you aware also that there are obligations and risk for you if the wrong claim is made to the ATO, because the key risk really is that the employer certifies the facts provided to the ATO and the JobKeeper claim made. Now, if the employer receives significant JobKeeper over 6 months, for example, employee was to receive, as I said in my example, $195,000, and an employer of 20 employees will receive $390,000. And let's say that if the employer makes a mistake and is found to be ineligible by the ATO, for example, turnover, then you have to repay all that amount back. Plus, the worst penalty is 75%, which is almost 300,000, 390 plus 300,000. So that would be the worst scenario ever. So please do not try to do this if you're, and I would highly recommend that for something that significant amount benefit to you, I would recommend that you engage and pay someone to do it, okay? Because we our team has gone through these laws for the last 2 weeks with a fine tooth comb. So of course we will, we back our advice, and we will make sure that we will help you through the process. The other thing is employee ceases to be eligible if they cease employment during the life of the JobKeeper. So if you started your JobKeeper with, say one of the employees and they left your employment within the 6 weeks, then you have to notify HEO. You can't keep on receiving their payment. So how can we help you? So our work plan is to assist you with the HEO specific actions that must take place within time frames for the employer to receive the JobKeeper payment. As I said, if you miss out, so it's 13 weeks. So if you are delayed in applying, then potentially you can miss out on the first few payments. So time is of an essence at the moment, and please be patient, because we are also, busy with everyone's applications. So for those who are up to date with their compliance with us, our clients, we will prioritize first. But if you're not, then it's time to get up to date now. We will also help you with the eligibility assessment. So we'll review ATO requirements for your business, for the employees, for the business participant entitlement, sole trader partnership company or trust, and also document the fall in turnover percentage in case of future ATO audit. We've had, as a team, we have taken a stance that we either do 100% for you, all in, or so we're not offering to review the work that you've done. The reason is the risk is too high for us. So therefore, if you are going to, if you're going to ask us to do it, then we'll do from start. If you do your payroll and you do your own and you ask us to review, most likely, most 99%, I will say no, because there are too many things that could go wrong. The other things that we identify is eligible employees. So we'll help you prepare the list of eligible employees, prepare JobKeeper employee nomination notices. We also help you make correct wage payments to eligible employees now. So to ensure that you're, topping up correctly and you're continuing to pay, especially for those who want to, have been stood down, or certain things, if they have commission or, or salary sacrifice, all those things could affect this top up. Enrollment for JobKeeper, as I said, starts today. So therefore we will be providing, if you are engaging us, then our accountants will be helping you with the following: provide employer bank account details for JobKeeper payment to make sure you don't delay in that, confirm applicant is entitled to business participant payment, specify the number of employees who are eligible for 1 period and the number of employees for 2 periods. Get confirmation that employees and the employer plans to nominate are eligible. Okay, and the employer has notified them. So from 4th of May, which is just around like 2 weeks, we will apply to claim the JobKeeper payment using the ATO online service. We will ensure all employees have been paid and identify eligible employees from STP, and update your accounting system chart of accounts of Xero to ensure JobKeeper payments are coded correctly. So if you're using MyOp, that's fine. So we can update that too. And same with Kat as well. So she will be looking after her clients as well on that. So I recommend that you see Kat for your JobKeeper payments as well, if you're already engaging bookkeeping. Now, this is, as you can see, monthly JobKeeper declaration report is due by the 7th of each month. So that means there's not much time left. So on this, we will reconfirm that your reported eligible employees have not changed. So input current GST turnover for reporting monthly, input projected GST turn for the following month, and notify if any eligible employees have changed or left your employment. So it's an ongoing process as well. And what this does is it protects you from the risk of you employees leaving you and then you're not being eligible and all that. As I stress, is that we are advisors and we know what we're doing, of course, because that's what we do every day, and we back our advice. And please don't stress on doing this yourself. It is all in or none in, meaning if you're choosing to register JobKeeper for your company after listening to a webinar and you have enough of it, then the risk will lie with you. But we would love to help all business owners to access JobKeeper applications properly and legally the first time and no delay. Okay, so over to Koi and Kat now with the common FAQs. Remember, these are the FAQs that we've managed to get for the last week from clients. But obviously, if we haven't covered any of the FAQs or you have a personal one, please jot your questions now. And anonymously, we will reply to answer and send the FAQs to all the people that have registered after this. And also the people that have registered, we will then contact you after this with a proposal to help you with your JobKeeper payment. All right, so Kat, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, so Kat, if you like to go through some of the FAQs, and Koi, you can probably, if you're there as well. So I'll help you with the technology. Yep, go for it, Kat.
Okay. What if my long-term casuals had uneven hours of work since the 1st of March 2019? So as long as they have been with the employer for 12 months, as Lan mentioned, it was from the 1st of March 2020. So that brings it for the whole year. So if they've been with you for 12 months, then I think you can just work out their their average hours is my understanding. Is that right, Lan?
Sorry. So average, yeah. So as long as they're on STP and they're, on STP and systematic employment, so that means that they're still on your payroll as of 12th of March, then they should be considered, but anyway.
The hours don't matter is my understanding.
Correct,
so
the hours don't matter.
With you for 12 months, then
correct.
It's absolutely fine.
What I see is that if you're casuals and if you haven't employed them, if you're last employing them from October last year, that could be a problem. You know what I mean?
Yes,
so
correct.
if it's like 1 day a week up to March now, then that's okay. It's not about the hours, it's how the pattern of employment.
Correct. Okay. Do my casuals qualify if they were with a business I recently acquired from the 1st of March? Yes, they do. So if the business changes hands and the employee remains with you, then yes, they can definitely be eligible for JobKeeper through your company.
Yep.
Do my casuals qualify if they were moved to another entity in my group after the 1st of March 2019? Yes, I think the continuity applies for employees transferred with the same group. So yes, it doesn't matter, which entity they were with, as long as it's the same group.
Yep.
If an employee's primary employer is eligible for JobKeeper, can my business be nominated instead? So if an employee's primary employer is eligible for JobKeeper, can my business be nominated instead? Only one entity can be entitled for the same individual.
Yeah.
Correct, yes. So basically the employee, as Lan mentioned before, it has to be where they claim the tax-free threshold. Yeah. That's your primary employer. So that is where the JobKeeper should be claimed. If they're not, you can't claim through another employer.
Correct. So the example is if the employee has a full-time job and that your employer just happens not to be eligible for JobKeeper, maybe the turnover of their business is still good, then even if you work as a casual elsewhere, then that's kind of bad luck.
Yeah.
So what that means is that you're still employed. You're still, you as an employee, you're still employed. So you're still getting your full-time wage. So you're not affected by COVID. That's what it's saying. So therefore you don't get the 750. I mean, the other employer doesn't get the 750 to pay you.
No. And I guess if, if you have to take a massive wage reduction, you could always apply for JobSeeker. If you're a part-time permanent employee somewhere else and they haven't, they're not eligible for JobKeeper, you could definitely try JobSeeker. through
Yeah.
Centrelink.
Yeah, but that's again a case by case.
Exactly. So can business owners qualify? Yes, if they are employees of their business. Yes, if they are a sole trader in their individual name. Yes, if they operate through a partnership, trust or company and are not an employee, one owner principal. Eligible business participant can benefit per business entity. That's pretty straightforward now, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, we covered that in the slides. So I think you guys will get copies of these slides as well for those who are here on today with us. So if I yep.
I still need to be carrying on a business to qualify. The rules only require the carrying on of a business as at the 1st of March. I can't see the other part of the screen there.
So many affected businesses would already have been shut down, but still qualify to meet the conditions.
Yes, correct.
So what that's saying is that as long as you have your business was active as 1st of March, but obviously the restrictions has forced some businesses to be closed, like sporting, beauty. So yeah, beauty. So therefore you're still, and restaurants as well. I mean, restaurants can do takeaway, but they effectively shut down their area. So and hairdressers, well, some not forced, but so if your business is active at 1st of March, you can be eligible.
Yes, so you don't need to be open, but obviously it's, you know, you're planning to reopen it, so that is still considered as active.
Correct.
Will employees on paid leave and unpaid leave qualify? Yes, they definitely will be. No, if employee is receiving parental leave pay or dad or partner pay.
Correct. Yeah. So if you have one of those, then no. But if it's, I've had a question this morning about the employee wanted to do annual leave, and so that would be qualified.
Yes, this actually is the same for sole traders as well. So if you're already receiving parental pay or some kind of partner pay, you don't actually qualify for the JobKeeper payment.
Mm.
If I terminated employees since the 1st of March, should I reinstate them now? As the JobKeeper legislation has passed and the rules contain transitional measures, there is more certainty to allow for reinstatement. So yes, you can. Because they were assuming on single touch payroll with you before, so you can continue paying them now. Okay, how is turnover decline measured? Use projected turnover, so the period of at least 1 month that ends after the 30th of March 2020 and before the 1st of October 2020, i.e. the months of March to September 2020, or a quarter starting the 1st of April to the 1st of July 2020. So you can use either or basically. So so if you don't qualify now, you can still qualify for, you know, you can use a projected turnover.
Mm. That's a lot of our clients won't qualify much because
Yes.
the lockdown only really impacted them in April. So you probably will miss the first few payments for JobKeeper, but that doesn't mean that you won't get, you know, the remaining. So that's why the monthly turnover test is very important to make sure that you know, as soon as you qualify, and even we can do projection as well, that you apply for it.
Yes, and that's actually one of the questions when you register on the ATO portal. It actually asks you if you want to report monthly or quarterly. So I'd say most people are going to choose monthly.
Yeah, if it suits you.
If it suits you, exactly. All right, can business owners qualify? Once an entity meets the decline test for a month or quarter, the entity will be eligible going forward, even if the turnover improves subsequently. The Commissioner has discretion under the alternative test to consider other information to establish the adverse impact of the coronavirus. If there was a large acquisition during the last year, the business was commenced during the past year and the turnover is typically high variable. So the answer to that question is yes, business owners can qualify, providing they meet the turnover test. And only one, if you're a director or a shareholder, only one person can apply for JobKeeper.
Yes. Yes, I think one of the questions here was that in the Q&A additional is that there's 3 directors of a company, so only one will be able to.
Yes, only one will be able to, yes.
Very unfortunate. So make sure if they can apply under employee though, then you could try doing the one with employee under the employee eligible test, and then the director, the one that's non-employee or doesn't receive wages, to go under that test. Okay, so that was a question that I can see from Mai. So okay, next one.
Yep. I am a registered company with an ABN and ACN. However, I do not employ anyone. Therefore, I see myself as being self-employed. Am I eligible for JobKeeper? This is a question I'm getting a lot. So if you receive a wage from your company as an employee, then yes, you will qualify as an employee of the company, providing the business meets the turnover test. And or if you are the director or shareholder of the company satisfying all the criteria, you can nominate the one person, being yourself, for the JobKeeper payment. So so definitely if you're an employee, you'll apply as an employee of the company. But if you're a sole trader and you're not an employee of your own company, then you'll qualify as the director.
The one or the other.
It's one or the other. So do lead entitlements accrue on the JobKeeper payment? Now, this one's a little bit complicated. Fair Work is being very strict about this. And I think that you really need to, for each individual case, you would need to contact Fair Work. Basically, if your business was shut down because of, the government guidance, that's what you had to do. You had no choice. You can direct your employees with it's called the JobKeeper enabling stand down directions. So the business can direct their staff to change their hours, even the location of work, temporarily while, during the 6 months while this, COVID-19 situation, lasts for. And so basically, if the hours have been reduced, say they're full-time 40 hours and you're telling them to work 20 or 10 hours per week, then the employee's entitlements will actually accrue on what they previously were working before the 40 hours. And you must get this in writing as well. So this is an actual excerpt from Fair Work. Employees subject to JobKeeper enabling stand-down directions still accrue their usual leave entitlements for the period the direction applies, as if the direction hadn't been given to them. Service is considered continuous for the purposes of redundancy and pay in lieu of notice. So i.e. it counts as time worked.
Yeah. Yeah, so it is a case by case, because this was one that you caught up for one of your clients. So obviously their case is going to be different to your case. So if you're going to engage Kat or our team to do the JobKeeper program package application, then clearly we will help you with this. Because it's not a general, it doesn't apply to everyone. So
no, and especially because some places are choosing to close, to shut down on their own accord, even though they can still stay open. So in this case, then the leave entitlements may not accrue. So this is why you need to contact Fair Work for each individual case.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Do I have to pay superannuation on JobKeeper payment? Yes, for any hours work, not on the actual $1,500 itself. So it is voluntary. The business can pay them super for that $1,500 that they get per fortnight, but they don't have to. But obviously, if they're going to work a full week and you're paying them, say, $3,000 a fortnight instead of the $1,500, you can choose to just pay $1,500 on top rather than of the JobKeeper payment. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a little bit confusing, but
Again, if you have anyone in that situation, then please speak to Kat and myself.
exactly. Again, it's always so complicated. What happens if an employee takes annual leave whilst receiving the JobKeeper payment? So they can still take annual leave. Basically, the annual leave entitlement still reduces as per normal, and the employee will pay the employer will pay the employee their entitled JobKeeper payment. So you're still getting that reimbursement from the government to pay your staff, whether they're on annual leave, sick leave, it doesn't really matter. It's just still a reimbursement for you, just to help you out.
Exactly.
What if my employee refuses to come into work? Now this is a very complicated one too. Now this is definitely Fair Work will need to get involved. If the employee refuses to come into work and there is work available, then this becomes a Fair Work issue. Fair Work has advised that the employee will and should not receive the JobKeeper payment and that their employment can be terminated. Because they're abandoning their work basically. And you know, I think we're getting a lot of this in especially the restaurant industry. They're, you know, obviously saying, why can't I, you know, why do I have to come into work and I can still get the $750 a week? But it doesn't really work that way. You're offering, you know, work to them and they're abandoning their employment. So you can actually terminate, providing you discuss that with Fair Work first, because they may take, you know, they may dispute it with you through Fair Work. So again, it's an individual case.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if I think that, you know, they still have an employment agreement with you. So their role is to get paid. They need to obviously fulfill that agreement as an employee. So, and I think we already clarified with Fair Work that is the case. That's their position they're taking. But
Yes.
obviously, if you have a particular case, then we will, you know, that's something that you can clarify with Fair Work.
Yes.
Okay, so I think that there was some of the common ones that, have you covered this one, Katrina?
No.
Okay, that must be the next.
So can I include overseas income in the turnover test? No, you cannot. It is strictly Australian-based sales only. The ATO have clarified that on numerous occasions. So it's definitely Australian sales only. I currently have a salary sacrifice arrangement in place with my employer. Can it continue? Yes, it can, providing that the agreement has already been in place, whether it was, you know, cash or fringe benefit or putting extra super into your, you know, an extra contribution into your super, that can still continue.
Okay. All right. So I think we have, let's see.
Sorry, Lan.
Yeah.
Can I just add a couple of things?
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for that. There's a couple of things that there's one that well, actually the one about the trust is just make sure that if your business is run by a trust and you're going to apply under eligible business participant, make sure that your accountant look at the trustee, because unless you're listed as a individual beneficiary, you cannot nominate yourself. I mean, so if say the beneficiary, a company or another trust, or say, for example, in the case of a unit trust, if the unit holders are trusts or companies, then that unit trust cannot nominate an eligible business participant.
That's right. So so what Coy has mentioned, our tax manager of success, is a very important point, because don't assume that because you're running the trust that your trust deed that was set up like, you know, 5-10 years ago is correct. So part of the process that we help with the JobKeeper is that we need to review your trust deed, your company constitution, to make sure that it is in fact that you are the business participant. So that's a very good point. Yeah, so it's not as easy as just, you know, logging in ATO. I think that's why we've got we will email everyone on this webinar I guess a plan to apply. And because there's a time limit, there'll be first in, first serve, because I think people, I mentioned about the integrity rules, right? So like if getting it wrong can cause delays to your payment, it also can cause, you know, penalties and audits. So we don't want you to be in that position, especially during this pandemic.
Yep. And also we've got another thing that we forgot to add, which we have maybe a couple of clients that might be eligible. So the question would be, can employers receive both the JobKeeper payment and the supporting apprentice and trainees wage subsidy? So say if you're a small business and you got someone who is an apprentice or trainee, are you eligible for both the $7,000 per quarter that subsidize the 50% trainee, and also the JobKeeper $1,500 fortnight? So the answer to that is you are eligible for both, but so you'll be eligible for the apprentice, because it starts from the 1st of January and it runs for 3 quarters. So that means that from the 1st of January to 31st of March, you can apply for that. And then because your JobKeeper starts from the 30th of March, then you will also be eligible for that. But after the 1st of April, you can only be eligible for one. And if I worked out, the $1,500 per fortnight is more than the apprentice anyway. So, but you are eligible for both, but only for the first quarter.
Okay. Yes, so that's for those who hire apprentices in their business. That is applicable. So if you're planning, if you are hiring apprentices, then please come and get in contact with us, because there are additional tax stimulus available to you.
I think there was a question about GST. You don't need to be registered for GST to apply for JobKeeper. That works on, I think we may have missed a slide.
That's all right. You might want to just answer that, Kat.
Yeah. So basically, yes, you can still apply. It's done by the turnover test, but you need to have at least lodged your 2019 tax return or an activity statement. So I'm assuming that might be an income tax, for income tax, PAYG income, I'd say. So you need to have lodged, either or. And then basically when you go into the portal, it'll ask you need to have a projected balance, a projected forecast basically of what you forecast your income to be as well. So you can definitely claim JobKeeper.
Yeah. Yeah, so so we can help you with the projected one, because that's where they'll be basing the assessment on the JobKeeper for you. Okay.
Correct.
I'm just quickly scrolling through if there's any questions that we've missed in here. So hi there, for sole traders who are affected by COVID and experience significant downturn. Yep, so we already answered that for the non-GST. Let's see. For companies, we have 3 directors. 2 draw a weekly wage for past 12 months. Other 2 directors get the $1,500. Yes, because they're under the employees, eligible employees. So the one that doesn't draw the wage, that potentially couldn't be looked at under the business participant one, the proprietor. The next question, yep. Do I compare? Okay. So if there's any specific questions about your case, we won't answer on the webinar right now. You need to probably get in touch with us. Okay. So I'm just trying to keep it general for everyone to learn. In the event an employee earns 3K per fortnight or 6K per month, does this mean that if an eligible for JobKeeper, I must pay them the entire 6K? No. Or can I say to my employer for this period that they will only be received the JobKeeper amount and work the lesser hours, as they are only going to get half of the income, as a business can afford full incomes? Okay, so the question was, if they were full-time and they were earning 6K and obviously work has dried up, you can reduce the hours because there's to work the hours that is available, but and then just pay them the $750. But obviously if they're working more than the $750, you would have to pay them more than that. So it's a bit of a negotiation. So that hopefully, Chris, that answers your question. I don't change my service. Do I use Chris?
Yeah, and I think Chris needs to remember that the 1,500 a fortnight is actually a wage subsidy. So it's like it's a government subsidy for you to help fund ongoing staff remuneration. So if that person is, works the full 40 hours a week and get paid 3,000 per fortnight, then yeah, you still need to pay that 3,000 per fortnight. The 1,500 will come in as a subsidy, which helps you pay half of that.
Yes, so their hourly rate doesn't change. You still, you would still, so if they are working, you still calculate their hours as per normal. If it's over the $1,500, you obviously have to put in. If it's under, then they're still entitled to that $1,500 regardless of, if they've worked less than the $750 a week.
Yes. Okay, so so would only one director get it regarding the 3 directors, or would both directors get in the draw active wages? So as I said, 2 active directors that get the wages will get it with the 1,500, the JobKeeper, as well as the director that is actively running the business. So potentially all 3 can get it. Okay. Now, Stan asked about the employer pays me monthly. Is that an issue, or he needs to pay me fortnightly? Kat, do you want to answer that?
They can choose to, they can leave it as is, as monthly. So I think you can change it to fortnightly if they like, but if they've always paid you monthly, then they'll keep it as monthly.
Exactly. Okay.
We have another question here about maternity leave. Oh, hi, I have a friend who was on maternity leave till June, works at a childcare. Is she still eligible? I'm not 100% sure about the maternity leave. Do you know anything about that one?
So we'll get back to you on that one, because the maternity leave, there was a bit of a dad leave. So
yeah, there is something about that. I'm not quite sure if.
Okay. So who was that one? Maybe
Carolyn. Her name's Carolyn.
Okay, Carolyn, we'll get back to you on that one. Who else? I think Airbnb, business qualified for applying JobKeeper. Is an owner eligible to apply for JobKeeper? Airbnb needs an ABN. It's as long as it's active, and this is for Alexandra. So if your Airbnb has an ABN and active at I think March, was it 12th March? Is it?
12 March.
Yep. Then you can apply for the JobKeeper under the business participant rule. So as a sole trader. What's this? Again, for a trust who has not paid any distribution and is in losses, is the adult person eligible for JobKeeper? Well, they look at, there are other criteria. It doesn't really say what the net profit is based on sales. So run through the criteria for an employer, and as long as you meet that, it's not based on how, what distribution you get. So that's not one of the criteria.
No, it's the turnover. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's the accruals turnover as well if you are registered for GST.
Correct. So for the overseas income in the turnover test, so that means you only include income for Australian sales. Kat, I think you mentioned that. So
yes, Australian sales only, no overseas to be included.
Correct. So if it's part of the company, you might have to do a separation. Okay. All right, Luke, thank you. Yep, we will be in touch, Campbell. Now, Shashank, what will be your, so Shashank will be in touch. Annie, does sole trader can send JobKeeper applications via MyGov? So Kat, you want to reply that?
Sorry, what was the question?
Does sole trader can send JobKeeper applications via MyGov?
Yes. Yes. So if you want to apply on your own, and you have MyGov and you've got the ATO linked, you can do it yourself that way. But then, you need to make sure you have the correct turnover. Otherwise, you don't want to get in trouble basically for giving them the wrong information. So you need to have proof that you meet the turnover test.
That's right. Yeah. So just make sure, like if you're confident to lodge yourself, make sure that you're willing to also take the risk that should HO come back. But as I said, everyone on this is going to be offered to help, and we will email you shortly afterwards, after this webinar. Now, Dora, if employers are on a varied hour and days for JobKeeper, do you need to pay public holidays if they are not working that day? Kat, do you want to answer that?
Yes, you do. You do definitely. That's something Fair Work has mentioned before. You do need to pay public holiday, and I don't think it's included in that $750 either. It's a separate. It's a separate amount. So that would be extra to, you know, to the $750.
Yeah. So Dora, we'll be in touch with you, okay? Because that's obviously a case-based case as well. Okay. So I think that's all the questions I can go through for now. If you have more questions, feel free to contact our office. We'll leave the details here, and we will make sure that we will get a copy of the slides to you and a copy of the recording to you. But thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure to host this webinar, and I hope that you get a lot of information and direction from it. And we do, from the team at Success Accounting Group, as well as Kat from Basswise, we look forward to helping you getting this JobKeeper on its way and into your bank accounts ASAP. Thank you, and I'll look forward to you in the next webinar. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.